everyone, and happy Read a Book Day. So today, to honor that, I am going to be showing you some of my personal favorite nature books out there, and would love to hear in the comments as well what some of yours are, because I'm always looking for some good books to teach me more about the natural world. So it may not surprise you then because of that. Most of the books here, if not all of them, are non-fiction. So these are real stories and they have a lot to tell. So let's crack open some of these to see which ones I find the best. Alright, as a kid, James Herriot was my dude. My parents read all of the James Herriot books to me. He's a veterinarian from the UK who did a ton of in-home visits to his clients, and this book and all of his books spurred me to also want to be a veterinarian. So that's where my background actually lies, is in veterinary medicine before I moved on to wildlife conservation and ecology. So any James Herriot book, it's a whole bunch of short stories about his various bizarre encounters as a veterinarian. We have The Sound of a Wild Snail Eating. This honestly is one of my absolute favorites, to the point that snails are kind of now really high ranking on my favorite animals ever. Also with the octopus, the giraffe, and the quokka. So we've got a bunch of weird animals on that list. But if you read this book, you'll find out why. It really tells the story of a woman who was so bedridden due to a medical issue that all she could do was observe a snail. And that's all she had the energy for. But the things that she found out and learned about snails because of this forced observation period, it's amazing. Alright, next one, kind of on the same vein of that, learning about octopus. We have Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery, and I'll put all of the titles and the authors in the description below, but there's some pictures and photographs as well that she includes. But this is about a woman who gets to have up close and personal encounters with an octopus at an aquarium. So it's really interesting how she gets to know the octopus and gets to know not just how an octopus works and thinks, but kind of more about their motivations, their behaviors, their personalities, the soul of them. The side of My Veterinarian Era, we have The Rhino with the Glue-On Shoes. And just like James Herriot, this is a series of short stories, and each story is written by a different zoo veterinarian. So as a kid, I decided I didn't want to do small animals, I wanted to do wildlife veterinary or zoo. Preferably wildlife, because I wanted to go out into the field to take care of these animals. So this is written by dozens and dozens of zoo veterinarians, and the amazing stories that they have to tell, like how you have to glue on shoes to a rhinoceros with sore feet due to ingrown toenails. We have Orcas and Men. And this book here was written by someone who lived off of the northern coastline, and they were able to talk about not just orca biology and behavior, but also about some of the human-wildlife conflicts that occur, especially in fishing villages, but also what each individual orca of this pod was able to teach him. So really, really fascinating story there. Now, this one is a little textbooky. I will forewarn you guys, it is dry It is thick, but I am obsessed. For those who have gotten to know me, I'm obsessed with color in the natural world. As an artist, you know, color is really important. So we're learning about color in the natural world, and this goes to say, why does color exist? Why is it important? What sort of benefits does color not just give the plants, but are they adaptations to attract pollinators? How does the color work with wildlife as well? So this really goes through in-depth botany. So if you're interested in cellular structure, looking at cells under various slides, you know, you can figure out how in-depth plant anatomy works, and this is absolutely amazing. It also is written by a man who's traveled the world searching out these plant pigments. So while yes, bits of it are a little textbooky, there are definitely portions of it that are a little more narrative as well, which I appreciated. But I was able to read through this whole thing and was only mildly bored by one part, and that was more about physics of how light works, and I'm just not as into physics, but it was still fascinating. And finally, out of my selection, Inside Animal Hearts and Minds. So this book here is really about how animals communicate with one another, how they, for example, like rats, tell jokes, how they laugh. So this is definitely a way to learn more about animal societies, animal behaviors, how dung beetles use the stars to navigate. So it really puts a relatable perspective on the various wildlife species, while also talking about some of the scientific studies that have been done to let us know that yes, they have memories, yes, they have feelings, yes, they can laugh and tell jokes, yeah, they have favorites, and how their societies work in a way that we can absolutely relate to. So those are my absolute favorites in my personal library, but I would love to hear what some of yours are, because I know that there's way more cool books out here. If you have suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Put them down in the comments below. You can like and subscribe here to stay tuned for more The Art of Ecology goodness, to learn more about the natural world and art and creativity, and hope to see you soon. Thanks.